Doo, doo. All right. Hey, everybody. Dave Calafiore along with Drew Griffin. And welcome to this live training session today. Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. You guys might hear my voice is a little bit rough today. Still recovering from a crazy trip to Dallas. But I'm excited. It's Monday morning. Um, Good to see everybody here. Really want to jump in today and go over some things. Some of you, this might be super basic for. We've got some new faces in the room. So if you're brand new, I'm Drew. The other guy on the other side of the screen is David. Welcome to Sendpush Agency Bootcamp. We're kind of doing this again, which is kind of good. And, we've added some new things to Sendpush that might be good for us to review.
Yeah.
But guys, today I think is a really good opportunity for all of you to ask your questions about the platform, right? If you're stuck with something, now is the perfect time to ask it. We're going to do a platform review, go through everything for you. So some of it might be rudimentary, some of it might be a little bit repetitive for you, but stick around. Spend this time now to really get your questions answered and see, the walkthrough of the platform, maybe ask some questions about logistics. We're going to go into probably the most important part of all this is your ability to go out there and sell. Right. So we're going to talk about some sales processes. And today,
Yeah.
we're going to keep it really simple, really, really basic, but super effective. You guys cool with that? Give me a number 1 in chat if you're cool with that. But before that, make sure that you guys can hear us. If you can hear us, give me a number 2 in chat, all the housekeeping stuff. If you happen to have a question, the very best way for us to see that and answer your question, we'll try to do it in real time, but most of it's going to be kept to the end. In the top right-hand panel, there should be a section for Q&A. If you've got a question, just simply tap on that and ask your question there. Guarantee we'll answer that question for you, either throughout the presentation or at least at the end for Q&A. We have a good way of just kind of filtering that. The other way, if you can't do that, is to put a QQQ before your question. If I see that, I'll add it to the Q&A tab. That way, if you see it disappear, you know that I've acknowledged it, that we will get to that. I promise we'll answer it. No need to ask it over and over and over again. If I do miss it, feel free to put it in there again if you want. All that to be said, let's get into this, David. I'm really excited about jumping in and talking some shop about Sendpush.
Absolutely. Where should we start, Drew? What do you think?
Yeah, so the best way to start is kind of talk about what we're doing, right? So here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to do a comprehensive Sendpush platform walkthrough. We're going to jump out, see David's screen. We're going to go in, show you how to set up a pass, show you all the different things, the things that you should be most concerned about, right? If you happen to have questions about a very specific feature within the Sendpush platform, we're going to try to break out and show you the emulator between iPhone, and David's got this fancy dancy new way of showing his Android phone. We're going to try that.
If it works.
If it works, right? We'll try. We'll do what we can to try to, attend to our Android phone users as well. We're going to go over a simple sales process. By the way, those of you who gave us some feedback and some testimonials, thank you. Thank you for doing that. That was greatly appreciated and helpful for us as we move forward here. And probably the reason why many of you are here today for this second bonus, boot camp style call. And we're going to get into it. And I hope this isn't a letdown for anybody, but this process is really simple. But along with the simple aspect of it, just be prepared because I'm going to call all of you out on this call. All right. I'm going to make you feel really uncomfortable, even though I want to make you feel comfortable as being our guest today. Today is a day of reckoning. I'm calling all of you out on today's call. And then lastly, we're going to get into some Q&A. All right. I still love you guys, right? I'm not calling you out as being hateful or anything like that, but it's time to step up for yourselves. And so we're going to go over that in a little bit. I'm going to give my voice a little bit of a break and pass this back over to David as we get into part one, which is the comprehensive Sendpush platform walkthrough. David, if you're ready,
Yeah.
I'll hand it back over to you.
Absolutely. Give me one quick sec to share my screen. Let's see here. Let's do the whole screen so we can show that emulator. Actually, we'll do a window first, and I can always stop and switch that. There we go. Okay. Cool. Let me know when that screen's up for you, bud.
You're good.
Cool. All right, so we're just gonna do a quick walkthrough. Like, to be honest, there's nothing new I'm gonna show you here that was not in the Send Push 101 training, which I would hope that you've all gone through. Is anyone not going through that training? And I'm not looking at the chat, Drew. So could you just put a 1 in the chat if you have not gone through the Send Push 101 training that's in the learning portal?
No ones, David.
No ones? Okay. Hang on. I guess
Actually, I did.
there we go.
Hmm.
There we go. We're back.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. No ones. So everyone's gone through it. That's great. I'm just going to take you through this again, and feel free as we go along. If you have questions, put them into the question tab as Drew has already instructed.
Actually, Dave, we do have one, and that's okay for those of you who are a little bit shy of adding in the ones. Our encouragement is that you go through the training. It just makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
can you just show them where that training is?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, also too, like when you first logged into Sendpush and you got into the dashboard, there was a video waiting here for you where I explained all this. I know some people just X those things right out and just don't pay attention to it and dig right in. So if you were one of those people, if you go back here and click on help and learn inside the dashboard in the left-hand menu, it takes you here to our training portal where we've got lots of great content and information on how to use Sendpush. So where that Sendpush 101 training is, if you go to the training center here, we've got a bunch of different, they're kind of set up as like courses. It's the first one. It's right here, Sendpush 101. And it just takes you through the entire platform. And I would absolutely recommend going through that. We're going to go through a lot of that right now, actually, but it's there for you if you need it as a reference too. Our knowledge base is here, some getting started documentation, and we're going to be adding to this as things go on. I just was working on another knowledge base article for some new features that we just added. Troubleshooting, things like that are here. The training center I showed you, there's some great templates here. We call them pass kits. If you click here, they're kind of broken up by industry and niches, and we've got a bunch more that we need to add here that we just finished up. They'll be added here in the very near future, but you can click on these, and there's just like nice starting points that you can use for designs for like the banners or tabletop tents, coasters, things like that to help you help your clients, because that's really the key here, Drew. Is the software part of Sendpush is really easy. It's not much. Like there's really no reason, once you kind of go through this a few times and understand how it works, like it's not like you should be sitting here staring at your screen inside the Sendpush dashboard all day long. Your job here is to go out for, number one, you've got to sell, right? It doesn't just sell itself. And number two, you're going to work with your clients to help them build that asset, build that list of people who have opted in, meaning they've added that wallet pass to their mobile wallets. Because over time, if you work with those businesses, meaning getting them bought in, training their staff, helping them with signage, coming up with strategies and different ideas to entice people to install those passes, the more you do that and the more that asset grows over time, it's less likely that those customers and clients are going to leave you. They're really just going to start paying you not to turn the damn thing off for them. They don't want to lose that line of communication to their customers and clients that they've worked hard to actually build, right? So start to kind of get that into your mind. Like, this is less about the software tool because it's really simple and easy, and more about you selling and then working with those clients to help them build that asset, with the benefit to you being the more that you do that, it's the less likely they're going to be leaving you as a client. All right. So that's where all that stuff is. Any other questions, Drew, on training stuff or
Nope.
locations? Good. All right. So let's get into it. Let me make this a little bit bigger here for myself. Okay. So first one's going to kind of give you the lay of the land, show you where everything is here inside the dashboard. Number one is we have change log. So you can see things, bugs we fixed, improvements we've made, new features we've added. All right. That's something we added last week. And as we, push changes to the platform, you'll see what we've changed, what we've added, what we've fixed. That all shows in the change log here. Okay. Down here where your name is, this is where you can switch workspaces. So you can also manage your workspaces too. So workspace, for those of you who may not know, is kind of like a individual project workspace. So within that workspace, the passes in that workspace are individual and unique to that workspace, and so are the analytics from those passes. So it's not absolutely necessary, but we think it's best practice that if you're working with a client, that you dedicate a workspace to a client, right? And that is because number one, nothing can get messed with, right? Everything in that workspace would be unique to that client. And also the analytics that build up over time are only for the passes that are within that workspace. Okay. And then also, too, if you have a client who does want to manage sending their own push notifications, you can share those workspaces. And obviously, you're not going to want to share a workspace with more than one business, right? So, those are all the advantages to doing that. And it's very easy to create a workspace. You can just come in and create a new workspace, give it a name, an optional description if you want. And once you create that, you can then navigate to that workspace by, again, clicking down here at the bottom, click switch workspace, and then you can go, in and out of any workspace that you want. So now I just went to a different workspace, right? I want to go back. We'll switch and go back to the other workspace. And as you can see, the passes within that workspace are unique. And so are the analytics here. They're all unique to that specific workspace. Any questions on that, Drew?
Nope, not just yet.
Good.
There's some folks asking about. Well, let me just address this.
Sure.
Excuse me, guys. If the screen seems to be a little bit smaller, what you want to do is hover over the video itself, and in the top right hand corner, you'll see a kind of an enlarge button that'll allow you to kind of enlarge the screen itself.
I'm full screen, so I'm as large as I can go here.
Yeah.
On my side.
You're good.
Yeah.
Continue.
Good. So that's how workspaces work. The majority of you have 20 of them to work with. So you've got a lot there in terms of opportunity. What's it work out to? 20 businesses times $1,500 a year, Drew. Let's do the math.
Yeah, it's a lot. Carry the one. It's $30,000.
Yeah, and we're truly hoping that you use these up, right? And if you do, you just contact us and we'll help you stack another plan and open up another 20 workspaces. We're really rooting for you to get to that point, right? But obviously, it's going to take some work to do that. So that's how workspaces work. Simple. I'll show you how to share that workspace in a bit. The first thing you're going to do here, the first tab that you land on are your passes. And to create a new pass, you just simply click here, new pass. You'd give it a name. We'll just go into this one that's made already and kind of go through the different options that are available for you here. First thing to know is the passes themselves look a little bit different on iOS devices compared to Android devices. And you can kind of toggle through each design here. So this is iOS. If you're on the Apple logo, right? And if you click on the Google logo, this is what a pass looks like on Google Wallet. They're a little bit different, very similar, but yet different, right? You can the differences are very obvious here. So we have 3 tabs here: front of the pass, the design of the pass, and the back of the pass. And we just go through each of these steps and fill out the appropriate areas that make sense for our specific use case, whatever you're working on. And then that's pretty much it. It's really not too complicated. The first option here is the pass information. The pass name is the name that you gave the pass when you initially clicked, create new pass. And then the pass title is what shows up here at the top of the pass. And as you can see, was a tag band, it actually updates in real time here on the emulator. All right. Um, so that's the first option here. The next field is the top field, and that is this information up here in the upper left, right hand corner. How you use that really depends on your use case. This example here is for like a coffee places VIP club. So we kind of just put like, what's the status? You're a V, or this is your status is VIP if you have this pass within your wallet. You can really put anything here that you want. Also, if you don't want to have anything there at all, you can just simply delete it, and then it just does not show that field. So it's optional. Below that is the barcode or QR code. Now, we think there's some different use cases here for this. Number one, it's a great way to allow people who have the pass installed on their mobile device to actually share that pass with somebody else. So to do that, you could simply just put the URL to your share page, and we'll talk about the share page in a minute, but you can just simply click here in the upper right-hand corner on this little icon that will copy that share page, and you could just paste that link here, and then you could just, put something like share, whoops, with a friend, right? So if somebody who has this pass installed kind of opens their mobile wallet and says, hey, yeah, you can grab this pass, just, scan this QR code, that would lead right to the share page. That's one option. You can obviously use it to lead anybody to any link or web page or landing page that you want that makes sense for your use case. Another really cool option too is digital business cards, right? Drew, we used this option when we were in Dallas a few weeks ago. Basically, if you have like a digital business card or like a Linktree type page, you can create one of these for yourself. And if you're like at a networking situation or, out at a chamber meeting or something, and you're talking to somebody and you want to, exchange information or contact information, you could simply just open this wallet pass and say, here, yeah, just scan the barcode. It'll always be there waiting for you. And then when that person scans the barcode, your digital business card that you've linked here would just open up on their mobile device. So it's like quick access to something that you want to share with somebody. Okay. And then also too, just keep in mind, if you just delete that, it's optional. You don't have to put a barcode there or a QR code there. Okay. And then below that are the pass content fields. Pass content fields is this area here where it says check the back of the pass for special offers and events, right? You can add up to 3 of these per card, but we like to just do 1. And really just keep the information on point and brief. What happens is if you put too much information, people don't take action at all. They get confused. There's too much information there. They ignore it. They don't read it. So what we really want to do here is keep this brief and to the point. And what we want to do in this specific case is direct them to the back of the pass. That is where we have links and things that they can go do and actions they can take. So in most cases, Drew and I, anyway, will use this area to lead somebody to the back of the pass because there's like a link we want them to click on, or a webinar we want them to register for, or a special offer we want them to look at. Okay. My best advice is probably just to use one of these fields here and keep it brief and simple. Right? Information on the one action that you want that person to take who's looking at that pass. Drew, before I head on to the next tab, is there any questions?
No questions yet. I'm just writing down some things that might be pertinent for everybody to realize.
Mm-hmm.
David, I guess before you go into the next step, maybe we do that afterwards. The difference between the emulator or the simulator, whatever you want to call this little thing over on the right hand side,
Mm-hmm.
and the URL, so people don't get freaked out that in their white label version that our Sendpush URLs coming up.
Sure. Well, this is not, I mean, this QR code here can be whatever you want it to be.
Right.
So whatever URL is this QR code is leading to is decided by you. So if you put a Sendpush URL here, yeah, it's going to load Sendpush. But if you put a link to your share page, where you've connected a custom domain, it's going to just to lead to that. This is really not meant for this emulator here. Emulates the actual pass when it's installed in a mobile wallet. So you sitting here and scanning this in your dashboard is not going to add this wallet pass to your phone directly unless you've added a link here to make it do that.
Yeah,
Does that
we're
does that
gonna
make
get
sense?
we're gonna get to that as we get to the share page, so
Yeah.
everybody understands the difference between what you're seeing right here on the pass and then what's going to be seen on the share page, which is where people will actually download this pass,
Right.
unless you've already copied this share link and entered it here. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah, I think
Let's
as we
get
get
to it.
into this and this unfolds a little bit, if you're confused right now, it will make sense.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to move on. That's the front of the pass. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot to it. Now, the next step here in the next tab is the design tab. This is where you can add your logo. So it's a square image. That's what you see right up at the top here. This is the logo right here. Okay. The banner, 620 by 246 dimensions. That is this. That's the banner. Okay. Just a simple upload. And we also have like a cropping tool here too. Let me just I'll just pull up any image just to show. Oh, that's wrong. I don't have any images to show you, but there's a cropping tool too. So it's really impossible to make the wrong size with this. It's gonna if your image is not exactly 620 by 246, it'll make you make an adjustment with the cropping tool. So that's the logo, the banner, and then the pass colors, right? So we've got the background. That's the background, right? And then the label color. See, that's the label color, and then the value color. Changing those text colors, right? That's it. Very few options here, which I think is a big benefit for all of us. There's less to tinker around with, fewer options to deal with, and less to think about. This is just very simple and straightforward. And that's it. That's the design of the pass. There's no options here for font sizes. There's no options for font type, alignment, none of that stuff. You know why? Because Apple and Google don't allow for it. They don't give us the option to increase the font size or change what font it's using or change the alignment. Just not available. And Drew and I kind of like that. Fewer decisions to make.
Yep.
So that's the design. Now we'll look at the back of the pass, and again, that's the Apple versus Google there. And this back of the pass area where it also looks different too. So we're on the back of the pass tab now. And that's what the Apple version kind of looks like compared to the Google. I actually prefer the Google version. I think it looks cleaner and less cluttered, but there is a difference.
Yep.
Okay. So the first option here for the back of the pass setup are the text fields. And these are these fields that you see right here. Everybody see that? So you can add up to 3 of these on a pass, but it's really just a title, the display text, and the URL. And then if the URL is optional. If you do add the URL, what it's going to do is it's going to hyperlink the display text, just like you see here. So it says coffee club. The display text says text me. And here's the URL. So it's hyperlinked it. As simple as that. Okay. And as I said, you can add up to 3 of these on the back of a pass. On Google passes, there is an additional option that's not available for Apple passes. And these are called link modules. And these are below here, right? So you can add, I think, just 2 of these. Yeah, just 2. And they look like this. They almost look like buttons that are hyperlinked. So the option here is to add a title and add a URL, right? So when you do that, it says gift cards. And then if you click it, it links to whatever URL you put in. And that's it. So again, these link modules, as it says right here, are only supported by Google Wallet. All right. Now, on these text fields, we just added a new feature next week or last week, which are called trigger links. So we had a lot of you asking for ways like, hey, can I put a click to call phone, tap to call type link here where if somebody were to tap on this text me, could I do tap to call or tap to text? And we figured out a great way to do it, and they're called trigger links. So if you're adding one of these text fields, you actually click here. It's going to open up this modal. It allows you to do some really cool things. Basically, you can add actions to those tappable links on the back of the card. One of them is click to call. We've got one for a pass-through SMS texting feature. You can open a Telegram conversation. You can lead directly right into Messenger or WhatsApp, Instagram DMs, and even a FaceTime call, which is pretty cool. Obviously, the FaceTime is only for iOS. Sorry, you Android users. But I don't know. Is there a equivalent of FaceTime for Android? I don't even know. There must be, right?
I don't know. Any Android users here using like a video feature like FaceTime? Let us know.
Oh.
David, what I've been doing recently is like spoofing people, putting people's telephone numbers in, like Sherry Sanderson and Connie's number, for a good time or something along those lines. Give them a call. Totally joking, guys. I would never do that to you.
But these are really easy to use. Like, for instance, I'm on the click to call one now, right?
Dave Brian says Google Meet is the default on Android.
Oh, okay.
And Tim Glenn says use WhatsApp for video calls.
All right. We can look into Google Meet. So I just put the phone number in. You just click generate link. And what happens is it generates this URL for you. If you could just copy it, right? And then you can close this modal and you can change this, like, contact us. And then call, boom, and then update. And now, it's going to open up. It's going to go back into the thing there. But on your actual pass, when somebody taps this, it'll be kind of like a normal website click to call type situation. So on any of these, you just really want to click on the option, follow the instructions here. For instance, like on the pass through SMS, you'd put in the phone number that you want the text message to go to. And then optionally, you can add a message. So, like this is the message. So what happens is when it opens, basically somebody taps in that link, it's going to automatically open the default messaging app on that mobile device. And the message will be to the number that you've put here. And the message will also be pre-populated. And all the person has to do is just hit the send button. And now they've sent a text message to this number, literally just by going tap and tap. Obviously, they could edit the message if they wanted to, but it's a very, very easy way to lead somebody to send you a text message. And it really works the same way for all of these options. Just, you can put your Facebook username or ID here, and then the message, Same thing with Instagram. You'd put your username. WhatsApp, you'd put your phone number in the message. Very simple and easy to use. And if you have a use case for this, it allows you to add these specific actions to these clickable links on the back of the pass. And Drew, like that's basically it in terms of setting up a pass. Is there anything we need to answer before we kind of move on to the share page?
It doesn't look like it just yet. There's some other outlying questions, but we can get to this later.
Sure. Okay. So like, that's it. It's pretty simple, straightforward. There's not much to it. Once you do this a few times, it should be pretty easy for you. Most of you are pretty tech forward, I would imagine. This is not hard. So now that you've created a pass, obviously the next logical thing that you're going to want to do is get people to install or add that pass to their mobile wallet. So every time you create one of these passes in the background, we're also creating what's called a share page, right? And to get to that share page so you can look at it and make edits to it, you're going to click right up here in the upper right-hand corner where it says share page. Boom. And it takes you to the next step where you can edit and make changes to the page here. Again, 3 tabs you go through. Content is the first tab. This is where you're going to add your logo. Add your logo here. Could be your logo, your client's logo, or an image, whatever it needs to be for your specific use case. And then you can edit the content on the share page. So you can edit the headline, the subheadline, and the instructions that are down here. So it's just these 3 areas. Delete and type whatever you want or make edits to it to say whatever you'd like. The only thing you can't change here are these 2 buttons. So add to Apple Wallet and add to Google Wallet. So basically when somebody taps on that, it's going to bring up that page where they can actually tap add to my wallet. And that's what these buttons do. And these stay here. These you can't edit. So logo, headline, subheadline, instructions. That's it. Simple. Next tab is SEO information. So you may want to edit the meta title, the description. You can add a favicon if you want, right? Kind of white label it to yourself or your client, whatever you happen to be doing. So that's the SEO metadata. And then the next tab is the social open graph information. Frankly, a great way to spread what you're doing with these passes to your clients, customers, or people who you're working with is to use social media. And obviously, when you share the link for your share page on social media, you want the social image and information to reflect either your brand or your client's brand and not Sendpush. So you can edit the social title, the description, and the open graph image here. And once you do that, it will reflect that when you share it on Facebook. Now, do know, if you create this page and share it on Facebook before you go ahead and make these edits, you may have to use something called the Facebook Open Graph Debugger in order to get Facebook to pull in the new information that you've added here. Just do a quick Google search. It's super simple. It's just a little page that Facebook has. You type in the URL and hit fetch new information, and it forces it to go out and refresh the Open Graph information. So if you ever run into that, before you contact us at support and say this thing's broken, it's showing Sendpush, make sure you go and use that debugger first. That's usually, in most cases, that's the issue. So once you get this set and you're done, you can just click up here. It'll copy the URL for this share page, and you can just paste it in. And there it is. That's the share page. Super simple. If you've connected a custom domain, your domain would be connected to this share page and not the Sendpush domain. So keep that in mind too. If you're concerned about your clients knowing that you're using Sendpush as a service, you'd probably want to connect a custom domain. And once you do so, these pages would assume your domain and not ours. Drew, any questions?
Yeah, actually, it just popped in. I want to make sure that Connie understands that. If you connect your custom domain and you go through the process of setting up everything that David just mentioned here, what you want to do is make sure that your custom domain is all hooked up, all that kind of stuff. And then you take the share page and head over to Facebook Debugger. When you do that, it's going to fetch the new information, because I suspect that you and everybody else are probably going to be setting up a lot of these different passes, right? Like it has to, catch up in their cache, if you will. It needs to crawl the site, the share link, to find out the metadata that you just set up. It doesn't know it automatically.
Yeah.
So you need to refresh the page. It needs to be shared to Facebook first. And that's why Facebook Debugger, like literally type in Facebook Debugger, Debugger, and share the URL that you just created. And once that happens, it's going to crawl the site and pull in that metadata, so that when you take that URL and share it to Facebook, it now has that information.
Now, you don't necessarily have to do that every time. When this happens when you've like created the page, and maybe you've taken the URL for that share page and you've like sent it to somebody in Messenger or added it in a post in Facebook, and then maybe you went and you updated that Open Graph information because you've already shared it in Facebook and it pulled in that original Sendpush Open Graph data. Just because you now have updated it in Sendpush doesn't mean that Facebook's going to know that. So this basically forces their hand and says, hey, go back and look at my page and rescan it and, suck in the new Open Graph information, and then it should be good to go.
Everybody get that? Give me number 3 in chat if that makes sense to everybody. We're just trying to help you help yourselves at this point. If it's not being pulled in, this is just an extra tool to force Facebook to make sure that it shares the information that you want to be conveyed. Good. Lots of 3s coming in.
Good. That's simple. I mean, it's like, social media 101 stuff. Some people just have never experienced it though. Cool. All right. So that's really it. Like creating a pass and editing your share page. And then, so here, like if you're going logically, you've created a pass. Now you've got people installing the pass. Now you want to be able to send notifications to people who've installed the pass, right? So to do that, we go to the notifications tab. All right. There are some rules here set by Google and Apple. They only allow users to send 3 push notifications per pass per day. Imagine a lot of you realize and know that already, but those are the limitations: 3 notifications per pass per day. All right. So to create a new notification, you're going to click New Notification and just go through the steps here. It's really simple. We'll just call this demo. Select a pass. So when you select a pass, you're selecting the wallet pass within the workspace that you're working in that you'd like to send that notification to. So basically anybody who has that pass installed would receive the notification. All right. So, and it will tell you here too, as you can see, we keep track of how many you've sent within that 24-hour period. So I haven't sent any today. So we're at 0 of 3 notifications for today. Okay. So I've selected the pass. Here's the message, right? Could be anything you want. I just, whatever happens to be. This is the message. As you can see, it updates in real time here on the emulator. And then you want to select, hey, do I want to send this immediately or do I want to schedule this? So if you schedule it, you're going to select the day and time that you want that to go out. And then you're also, if you're scheduling for, you have a client, you live in New York and you have a client in California, right? And that client's customers are all in California. You're probably going to want to select the right time zone so those messages go out at the appropriate time for where the people who have that pass installed actually are. Okay.
And David, while we're here,
Sure.
let's talk about what should be showing up on the iPhone or the Android device. Is a template of any pictures or a huge, image going to pop up on the screen, or is it going to be this little gray area that
It's
you
going to
see?
look very similar to what you see here. Obviously, there are differences in terms of iPhone and Android. They're going to look a little bit different in terms of the user interface and what the alerts look like. Also, it may vary depending on the personal settings that person has on their mobile device. There's different ways that, both Apple and Google, if you go into the settings for notifications, they give you different options for how you'd like to see notifications displayed on your screen. So, depending on those settings, it could look a little bit different.
Yeah, it might show up at the bottom of the screen, might show in the middle, might show up at the top of the screen, but the image itself, right? The message that you're going to get is very much akin to what you see on the screen, not the big blue green. There's no large image that you're sending. It's the logo and it's the message that's popping up on the screen.
Right.
Everybody
Yep.
understand that? Give me number 4 in chat if you understand that.
And listen, this is no different than any other app. For instance, I use an email platform called Spark. I love it. They for my email on my iPhone, but each person who uses that app can choose to have the notifications of a new email display in different ways. As Drew said, at the top of the phone, sometimes they do like a roll up of all of the notifications of a new email. Like, this is not unique to push notifications here. So just keep that in mind, right? There are always variables at play with any sort of notification when it comes to tech like this. There's a lot of options. People can adjust their phones, make their own decisions on how they want different things to display. We can't control those things, and hence, like, you really shouldn't worry about it. I know, sometimes us people in the agency space are very like controlling over, want everything to be perfect. It should display like this. If it doesn't display like this, it bothers me. You've got to learn to like just let that go. You can't control it, nor can we, nor can anybody. But what we can tell you is that people do see the notifications. We've got data that shows it. I mean, we've been at this for a while. Even our own passes where we send out pushes, we've got hundreds of clicks from the links on the back of the pass, which means people get the notifications and they find their way to the back of those passes to go consume whatever or take whatever action that was intended. So where was I? Time zones. Set the time zone, right? Next. Now, this is a great feature. You do have the ability, and again, this is totally optional. It doesn't always make sense for every use case, but there are use cases when you may benefit from being able to temporarily change the content and the information on that pass. Maybe it's like a limited time special offer or a lunch special for a restaurant or anything that has scarcity attached to it could be a good use case for this feature that allows you to temporarily update the pass design. Okay. So this is off by default, but if you toggle this on to update the pass design, it opens up a bunch of options here for you. So the first step is to actually tell Sendpush, hey, I want to temporarily change the content on this pass until this day and time. So you pick the day and time, whatever it happens to be. And on that day and time, the pass will revert back to its original state, meaning the state that we just showed you when I set that pass up and went through all those different options. Okay. So kind of think about this as like a limited time offer, or there's some sort of scarcity involved possibly, where if that offer is done with or the time is up for whatever that scarcity is, when somebody goes to that pass, they're just going to see that regular pass now. It's gone. It's too late. Sorry, you missed it, type of deal. All right. So once you turn this on and set the date, you can then go through and you can update the content on this pass. So you can update the cover image, the QR code, the pass content fields, the text fields, all those things can be edited by you here in this temporary pass update feature. And once you do that, you just hit next, and you're either going to send immediately if you've chosen to send immediately, or you just click schedule to schedule at the day and time that you selected. Drew, is there any questions? It's pretty straightforward.
Yep, straightforward.
Okay. Just to show you the notifications page here too. We've had some people ask questions about this. So this is the name of the notification. This is the pass it was attached to. Okay. If you have shared access to one of your workspaces, it will actually show you that the person with the email address here was the person who created this notification. So like if you've shared it with a client, that client's email address would show here. So you know in your backend that that client created that notification. This is the message that was sent. Okay. This is the status. So these are just ones I was testing and then I canceled. So it shows canceled. If it was sent, it would say sent. If it was in the process of sending, I don't know if I have any pendings showing here. No pendings. If it was in the process of sending, it would say pending. And then if you have, where's that? Yeah. If you have scheduled the temporary change of the content on the pass and that time has come and gone, it will show you that it's reverted back to its original state here. And also here too, but really simple. Also too, if you send a push notification, it will tend to stay on the back of the pass until you send the next push notification. Sometimes you may not want that. You may not want like an old message sitting there on the back of the pass. And if you wanted to delete like a message that you sent yesterday, so it's still not showing on the back of the pass itself, all you have to do is come up here and click this garbage can. It will actually clear that message from the back of that pass. So as new people either install that pass, or if there's, somebody goes to look at that pass and they get to the back of it, that message would be cleared away if you just hit that little trash can and confirm that you want to do that. All right, we're going to move on to geolocations messages next. Any questions before we move on, Drew?
No, you're good for now.
Great.
I think we're on track
Good.
here.
Cool. So we've covered how to set up a pass. We've covered how to, edit and update your share page. We've shown you how to create and send a notification, schedule a notification, and update the pass content. Now, the other great option that we have here on the platform are geofence notification alerts. Okay. Keep in mind, most of you should all know this. This is only available on iOS and Apple right now. We're hoping that in the near future, Google re-enables this feature. They're supposed to be putting a new version of their wallet app out in the very near future. So we are hopeful that they will re-enable the geolocation alerts for Google Wallet as well. But with that being said, it's still a super powerful feature. There's a lot of people who use iPhones. So just because there's no Google does not mean that this is useless by any means. It's really powerful too, and really easy to use, like so easy to use. So to add a new location, you just click Add New, give it a name, select which pass you'd like to attach that geofence to. So make sure you select the correct pass. Then you put the message. Right. And now you select the location. Now pay attention to this because what I'm about to show you is actually important. So this location box is connected to the Google Places API, Google Maps. Okay. So we can just put in, like, you could either start typing or enter in a location. What you want to do though is make sure that you click here on the drop down that will show. Because if you just hit, if just because this is entered in here right now and you hit enable location, that is not set up properly. And we've actually probably got to put like some sort of roadblock in there to prevent that from happening. We'll probably do that in our next update. But just know that, where was I here? Oh, here we go. So what you want to make sure that you do is make sure that you click here on the actual drop down with the correct address location that you're looking to set up the geo target for. Until the pin shows here with the radius around it is showing, it's not set up properly. It will also show you the coordinates down here too for this location.
Hey guys, can you guys give me a number 5? Give us a number 5 in chat to confirm that you understand this. Please. If you're unclear in this, we'll stop and we'll pause here. We want to make sure that your geofence notifications work for you, particularly for those of you who are trying to do a demo for a prospective customer and client. If you don't do this, if you don't see the red pin inserted into the map here, it's not going to work. Do you guys understand that? Make sure that you give me, if you don't understand that, give me a number 1. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that everybody understands this.
Yeah.
If you come back and say as much that, oh, the geofence isn't working, it's on you. All right. I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm just trying to help you understand that if you put the address in here, and logically it's correct, because let's just say you put in an address and you mistype it, right? We want to make sure that the address that you're putting in there is in fact the very geofence notification that you want. Maybe you're at a meetup, maybe you're at a chamber of commerce, right? And maybe there's a similar address. So we want to make sure that you put the correct address in there and then select it, because there might be something that's like, east versus west, or, I don't know, in some locations they spell out the word, the number first as opposed to 1ST, right? Weird stuff like that all across the world. So we want to make sure that your address is selected properly. And when you do that, it's going to show a red pin.
You got it. Limitation set by Apple. We can only do 10 geolocations per pass. So just know that that's a limitation set by Apple. You can only set up 10 of those per pass. Now, I saw somewhere in the questions before I started to do the demo here, somebody was asking about scheduling of these. That's something we're working on currently. It's not something that we have the ability to do yet. There's some technical stuff that's really making it hard to schedule these geo alerts, but we're working on it, and I'm sure we'll get it figured out sooner or later. Currently, though, you can just toggle them on and toggle them off. Okay, so now it's off. Now it's on. At a bare minimum, you could just pop in here quickly if you needed to turn them off and just turn them off. And you don't have to go back in and set it up again. You just need to toggle it back on. You can also go in and make edits to the message too. So once you've actually created it, it's not set in stone. You can go back and edit the message or, any other part of it too. And that's really it. Also know there are things at play that are out of our control sometimes, especially with these geolocation alerts, right? They're usually pretty good. There are times, imagine if have you ever been in like downtown Philly trying to use GPS on your phone?
Yeah.
And it's all confused because of the tall buildings. Like it's not getting a good GPS signal.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. All of a sudden, like Waze is just like telling you to go to left, then now right. And then all of a sudden it changes its mind and wants you to go straight. Like, and you're all confused because now I'm in the wrong lane. Like, so the geo alerts work with GPS. So it knows like where you are in the world. There can be times when your GPS signals, weak, or you're in a spot where it's not connecting well, where maybe the notifications might take a little while to show up. And then on the opposite end, sometimes the notification has showed up and you've left that location. And maybe you've walked for a few minutes and it's still showing. Well, part of this situation could be like a weak signal, weak internet, weak GPS signal. There's a lot of variables at play that we can't always control. So just know that. And just be okay with it. Shit's going to happen. It's not always like dead on perfect, pops up instantly. Like we've had some people reach out to support, said I drove through the area quickly and it didn't show up. Well, sometimes it takes a couple minutes for that alert to show up on your lock screen. Driving, just passing through, going 30 miles an hour may not be enough time. So just consider those things when you're using the app or explaining it to people. There are variables at play that we can't control.
Yeah, and Connie had an interesting question or comment. Said, so if I pass by one of those and then an hour later come back that way, will it notify me again?
Yeah. I mean, if you're there long enough for it to actually take effect.
Yep.
Like, if you set, if you set a geofence for like a shopping plaza that's on your way home from, wherever you are, and you're passing by at 50 miles an hour, it's not going to just show up instantly as you're like right in front of it. Like it takes a little bit of time, right? But think about it from the standpoint of, what if one of those businesses clients were shopping at another shop within that plaza? Those are more of the scenarios you're looking at where these become very useful.
Yeah, the signal is cycling, so it very well might capture your car if you're driving through it, or you're paused and you're in front of that area for the moment. And theoretically, if you drive through and the pass creator turns that GPS or turns off that geo fence, you may not get it again, right? You can always switch it out and put a new one in its place, or a different message in that place, and that message should pop up. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mike, the geo fence alerts do not affect the daily allotment of notifications at all. So it's not actually considered a push notification.
So Amelia asks, if someone enters the business, assuming that it's a geofence notification or alert, will the notification show the entire time?
Yeah, it will. And we've got clients who like that, because when they have people who have their VIP pass installed enter their place of business, they can let them know what's going on today. Here's our specials. Here's what our thing is today. This is what our entertainment is tonight. So,
Bob's asking about the diameter of the geofence. Will there be a feature to change the diameter?
we're trying to figure it out. Apple and Google do not make it easy to do that. It's currently 200 meters.
Yeah, it's about a third of a mile, which is quite a good distance, right? It's, if you've got a business there and you're about a third of a mile away, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on geo, structures of that's around you and interference and stuff like that. I set one up and tested this myself, and I got a good distance away from where the pass, the geo fence showed up, and it stayed on my phone for a little bit more than a third of a mile, which is a good distance.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So, yeah, that's the geofence stuff. I know there's probably, we'll get to all the questions. Let's just kind of keep chugging along here. I saw a couple others on this, but so analytics here. This is pretty basic and easy. We did just add a feature to let you filter per pass. So in this particular workspace, you only have one pass installed. But if I had multiple passes, you could actually, look at the analytics per pass if you wanted to, or you can just see all passes. It shows you per workspace how many total passes you have, how many total active passes you have installed. That's on Apple and Google devices. How many push notifications you've sent. So how many devices have received push notifications from this pass? Okay. How many links were clicked on the back of that pass? Okay. And how many total notifications have you sent? So that's like one notification sent to 100,000 people counts as one notification. Does everybody get that? We always get a lot of confusion over this. So one notification sent to everybody who has the pass installed counts as one notification. So that Mike was asking about the allotment of 1,000. That's 1,000 individual notifications sent to everybody who has that pass installed over the course of that month. And then those 1,000 push notifications reset every month. All right. And then if you've got, links on the back of the pass, it'll show you which ones have been clicked the most, and it'll kind of rank them here for you. So as different links are getting clicked more, it'll kind of rank them from.
Can you reset analytics?
Yes, you can. You can reset them. So in order to do that, you have to go to an actual individual pass, and then you can actually click this button here, and that will reset the analytics. There we go. It does not reset the analytics for obvious things, though. How many passes you have, how many installed passes, how many push notifications you've sent, and how many total notifications. It resets the data for the links and the stuff on the back of the pass. Does that make sense to everybody? Good.
Paul is asking, will analytics show number of calls if using a click to call trigger?
It will show you that click to call link was tapped a certain amount of times. So kind of, I guess, if the call was made, we don't know particularly because that's kind of up to the person, because it doesn't just start ringing instantly. It will confirm that, like, the next, you tap that link and it says, do you want to call this number? You have to hit yes. So we don't know if somebody took that next step and actually called, but it will show you how many times that link was clicked.
Good.
Settings, basically all you really, you can, change your password here, but this is where if you want to connect a custom domain, this is where you do it. We've got full video in the learning portal of how to do this. Also, there's instructions here. It's pretty straightforward. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can use a root domain. So like davidcalafiore.com would be like a root domain. You can connect that if you want, or you can also do a subdomain. You'd use a CNAME for that. So imagine passes.davidcalafiore.com. Really up to you how you want to do that. In most cases, I would imagine most of you would want to use a subdomain, because what that allows you to do is leaves the root domain for a landing page or a website that kind of outlines, what the service detail is. But you can either do a root or a subdomain. You just follow the instructions or refer to the step-by-step video in the learning portal. And then finally, what we're going to go over here is how to share your workspace with a client. So down in the left-hand corner, if you click on your name, you'll see the option here to share a workspace, okay? You click on that. This is going to be actually closed by default. So if you toggle this on, it brings up a bunch of options for you. Let me kind of just take you through this and explain what's happening here. So you toggled it on. That's the toggle switch. This link, the share URL, is the link that you would share with your client. And again, if you've connected a custom domain, this URL would use your domain and not the Sendpush domain. Okay. Next, you're going to set a password for the workspace. You're going to give this password to your client. So remember what this password is, because you're going to have to give this to your client. Below that, you can add a logo. Drew and I like to add our client's logo here because it makes them feel special. It makes the workspace feel more custom to them rather than putting our agency logo there, but you can do whatever you want. I would recommend putting your client's logo there. And then the from name. This is important, especially if you're concerned about white label stuff. We've added a layer of security to this. So when you give your client that URL and the password, they're going to have to do an email verification to actually gain access. So when they get that email, the from name will say from whatever you put here. Okay. And that way kind of continues on that white label congruency. So make sure that you edit all these spaces here. You hit save. Oh, let me just grab this link, copy the link, right? I'm going to log out over here. Okay. So I'm going to put that URL on here. It's going to take you to a page that looks very similar to this. Again, this is the logo, right? This could be your client's logo, could be your logo. It will say the name of the workspace here. And they're going to put in the password that you gave them. And now they're going to get an email on your side. You're not going to be able to see this, but the email will come from your name. Let me just go grab that code. And also, too, worth noting, the email comes from like a gray labeled domain. So the email comes from passportal.co, which is a totally fictitious thing. There's no website there. There's nothing. It's just kind of a gray labeled, nondescript, generic domain. So they will not see any mention of Sendpush anywhere. Just make sure that you change that from name that I was just telling you about. Okay, so now I'm going to put, I grabbed the code. It was emailed to me. I'm going to put the code in here, just hit verify. And now it takes me into the shared portal space. Okay, now this is a stripped down version of the portal. And we think that's really important because number one is you want to make this really easy and streamlined for your clients to use. They're not looking to learn how to use a bunch of software. They just want to do the thing that's going to make them money, right? They're not looking to design passes and play around with the styling and all that nonsense. You do that. You should do that for them. Get that taken care of for them. Okay. What they want to do is be able to send a notification when they've got a slow lunch afternoon and they're trying to save their day by getting some more people through the front door, making the phone ring, right? They want to be able to do that themselves without having to call you. And that is what this portal is all about. So they can send notifications. It works in the exact same way that it does within the regular workspace. I'm not going to go through and show you this again. It works the same way. They can set up geolocations. Works the same way. And they can view their analytics. Same thing.
Are there any questions on this at all? Give me number 6 in chat if you understand it. And if you don't understand it, ask your question now. Mike says, where do we add client email address to access a shared workspace?
They can Mike, all you do is send them or message them the workspace link and the workspace password, and they just enter their email. You don't have to enter their email address. Just give them the link and the password.
No, Dara, they can't change their pass.
Nope, they can't access the pass, and you don't want them to access the pass. They can actually update the pass temporarily, just like you can when sending a notification, right?
Amelia asked, with notifications, can they still change the pass design for a limited time?
Yeah, that's just what I'm showing you right now. They can. Yep. but they can't actually access the pass, which is important because if that pass gets deleted or altered or messed up in some way, it's not reversible. You do not want those clients having access to that pass. Does that make sense to everybody?
I think so. I think everybody's getting it.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. And that, Drew, that's it, man. That's Sendpush. I mean, that's all of it. That's everything.
Any burning questions on the platform or the passes or anything like that now? Let's answer a couple of these questions. Do you guys want to go through the sales training first, or you want us to answer some of these questions now?
Let's just get these questions out of the way. We'll bang them out.
Yep. Sounds good. So we answered that. Bob was asking about analytics reset. We answered that. David, can you explain again about the number of push notifications relative to the people that have the pass installed versus how many passes or how many push notifications can they send out daily?
Okay. So Apple and Google set limits. They will only allow us and you to send 3 push notifications per pass per day. So when I say a push notification, what I mean is you can send a push notification to everybody who has that pass installed 3 times per day. Right? So if you've got a pass and it has 1,000 people who have that pass installed, one push notification would go to all those 1,000 people. That counts as one push notification. And you can do that 3 times a day. Does that make sense? Just let me know. If not, I can explain further.
What if they had 10,000 people that have installed that pass?
No difference. Just using that as an example.
20,000?
Doesn't
100,000?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Let's see. Can you filter what links were clicked in analytics?
No, not yet. But you can just quickly take a look. You can filter if you have multiple passes in a workspace, you can filter through each pass and take a look at the specific analytics for that particular pass. Here's a different example of that. Let me just show you. Let me just log back in here. Whoops, not Ask Spot. There we go. Switch workspaces here. Okay, so I've got multiple passes here. If I go to analytics, what you're looking at now are the analytics for all the passes. Okay, or I can choose a specific pass and you'll just see the analytics for that specific pass. And that's the filtering that we currently have available.
David, Laura asks, how do you move a pass to a different workspace?
You just click down here where your name is. Whoops, hang on. And hit switch workspace and choose the workspace that you want. That's it.
Can you move one pass from one workspace to another?
Yeah, you can. You just go here, go back to your passes, click at the little ellipses menu up here and choose move to workspace and choose which workspace you'd like to move that pass to. That's it. You can also grab your share link here for the share page. You can view the QR code that's on your share page, so you can download that. So maybe you want to make some signage, using Canva or something to put at the point of sale at the business you're working with, or put on a big retractable banner. You can do that. You just download this QR code and add that QR code, and that would load up that share page that I showed you. You can also duplicate passes, and you can archive a pass. all from that menu.
How do geo notifications affect the daily notification limit and our 1,000
They
notifications?
don't. They're actually not considered a push notification. There's no correlation between the two.
Is there a way to create a welcome message that we can create when someone adds a pass to their phone?
No.
Some of these are sales questions.
Steven's asking, does the fourth attempt of a push notification fail? We're just not, the system's not going to allow you to send a fourth on it within a 24-hour period, Steven. We put roadblocks in place for that.
Paul is asking about limiting the ability to geo-target notifications to a certain time so that it does not continually appear on the home screen. Well, that's the point about that, Paul, is the geofence notification. I mean, we're looking into setting time limits and that sort of thing. But in the meantime, toggling it on and off would probably address that.
Mm-hmm.
Dara says, I want to approach a small mall owner who has 40 stores within their property. I want to figure out the best way to approach the owner, or should I go straight to the vendor stores themselves? It really depends.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on that. I mean, there's multiple ways to attack that. If the mall owner sees the value, they might be able to bring that traffic to all 40 of those stores, which is a benefit to them. And then by virtue of that, spreading that for you, you more or less become a sneezer, right? And telling them about your technology, they might become an unwitting refer for you to all those 40 stores. So I would probably work the mall owner if you've got a relationship with them first, and then have the introduction to the other businesses as well.
Mm-hmm. Mike is asking about how does the system prevent multiple geolocation messages if a person passes in and out of. So Mike, iOS will only show one geo lock screen alert at a time. So really, it's only ever going to show one at a time.
Connie asks, any pointers, tips on using one workspace for 3 different uses, all have made like a newsletter agency? Yeah, well, that's it. You've got a workspace that you're using for yourself. You create the various passes within the workspace. You don't even need that for yourself. You don't need to use a workspace for yourself. You've got those passes, right? Use them individually. So you're not using a workspace unless you want to, keep them all contained within that one workspace. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, it's totally up to you. A workspace doesn't necessarily have to be for a business. It can be for a project you're working on, something you want to keep separate. That's why we called it a workspace and not like a business account or something, because it's really not. Definitely, we think it's best practice that if you're working with somebody, that you keep their passes and all their analytics separate. And you can do that by giving them their own workspace. But for your own stuff, there's really no need to have to use a separate workspace for each thing that you're doing, because it's all applied to you and your businesses, and you can filter through that and deal with that on your own. It's not going to really matter to you, if that makes sense. Sandy, we are working on the mobile view. There's just some changes that we're making first. So sometimes mobile optimization can be a tedious thing to get working properly, especially with a web application like this, where there's a lot that you can do within the platform. So we are working on that, and we'll get that addressed. For now, just use your laptop or use a tablet, or just use the regular desktop for making edits and those sort of things. But we will get that fixed up.
Dara says, I'm wondering what would cause the pass or the code to change. Well, the only thing that's going to make that QR code or barcode change on the front of the pass is whether or not you enter a value, Dara, right? You're putting a URL inside there. That's going to change that.
Yeah, only you can change that. Like, that's up to you. Whatever content or link that you put there will cause that to change. So that's not like a dynamic thing that automatically, adds a link there or whatever it happens to be. Only you can change or update that.
Also from Dara, if you change the pass for a short period of time, but people are still adding the pass to their wallet, what are they going to see? They're going to see whatever you currently have displayed on there.
Cool. I think I think we got them all, Drew.
Laura just asked a question. Any chance there will be a gallery with images that you have been uploaded, free images to use? I'm not sure what you mean.
We've added a bunch, Laura. So I'll show you within the learning portal. If you go to marketing assets and you click here, there's a bunch of Canva templates that we've added here for you guys to use as you want. You can kind of go through these, but there's different sizes. There's a bunch of different sets of these. And we'll be adding more. There we go. These are right in the learning portal now. There's tons of them. You can change. This is all done in Canva, so you can make it say whatever you want. You can add whatever logo or icon you want to add here. All totally. There's tons of them. Drew did a great job on these.
Thanks. We're adding more. No, it's probably not going to be in the design feature, Laura. That's just another layer of stuff. That's not our core competency. And I think creating, there's so many different variables, and like even it's the whole, if you give a pig a pancake, they're probably going to want some syrup, right? So from the design aspect, it's a very simple upload. We want to leave the design aspect to you guys, and make it really simple and lightweight.
I mean, we do have some templates here that you can use. They might make good starting points for you. As soon as like a bar or wine, here's the banner. There's stuff like this for you if it makes it helpful. But that's all right in the learning portal, and everyone has access to that now. And you've had it, so it's still there.
Yep. Cool. Well, let's wrap stuff up. I've got a very brief sales training for everybody here, and I think all this stuff, the challenge here for all of us that are on this call is getting so caught up in this tech that it's it can be very what's the word I'm looking for? It could be almost like a stumbling block for all of us. And the truth of the matter is, you're not going to sell anything unless you start to sell stuff, right? It's very easy to get caught up. And I get it. You have to understand the platform first. But our recommendation is that get it done.
Let's just ask everybody, like, what I just showed you particularly difficult? I know I'm very well versed at it because we created it, but is that all that difficult? Compare it to a lot of other software tools you use. Like, you really should not be spending tons of time like banging your head against the wall trying to figure this out. This is not difficult. This is like, I mean, really, and Drew's 100% right. The only way you're going to make money with this, with your investment that you made in Sendpush, is to go out and talk to business owners and have sales conversations and make offers. Now I'm going to leave it to Drew to take you through some of our suggestions.
Yeah. Richard, your question, maybe. We might be working on something. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Part 2 is the simple sales process. Guys, there's this very simple prospecting script, and we've given a lot of sales and marketing collateral inside the members area. If you're not inside the members area, you got to go in there and see what's there. Right? I've given you tons and tons and tons and tons of strategies and scripts that could work. Some of it might seem a little bit, cringe, but if you need an angle, if you need something, that there's most likely an angle that you can adopt on the inside, right? Sales scripts, we've given you prospecting scripts for in-person stuff and online. Okay. But I can tell you with 100% confidence, you just need to keep it simple. Keep it really simple and get out of your own damn way and go out there and start talking to people like you're a human being. All right. So I'm calling you guys out of there. Are you willing to go out there and show some cool shit? Give me number 5 in chat if you're willing to do that for yourself. I'm going to give you a really, really simple script to do. Good. You know what? It warms my heart to see all the 5s. It's like you guys are giving me a high five. All right. You guys ready for the script? It's the simplest thing ever, guys. You have to start believing in yourself. Let me know in chat. Have you ever had one of those cool Christmas gifts or holiday gifts or a birthday gift? You know, any of my friends out there that had, you know, the old classic dot football game, what was it, Nintendo or ColecoVision or something like that? They handheld game back in the day, right? And if it wasn't that, it was something that you got that you wanted to share with your friends. Like that's the feeling that I want you to lead with. Like you want to show them something really cool. Show and tell, right? Anybody here ever did show and tell while they were in school? Yeah, Tecmo Bowl, right? Brian? Okay. I'm sure everybody's done show and tell to some degree. Probably got excited to some degree. Maybe you felt a little bit nervous because what you're about to share may be only cool to you. But that's the feeling that you want to get. Like whoever your best friend is, like, hey, I just came across something. It's the coolest thing ever. I want to discuss the latest movie, that sort of thing. That is what you're leaning with. That. No other script is necessary. Seriously. I'm going to share a little story with you in just a moment. But guys, here's what you're going to do. It's something like along this. Hey, I made this for you. Let me show you this. Can everybody here in the room give me a number 1 in chat if you can do this? Can you say, hey, I made this for you? Laura's done it. Lots of ones coming in. If you can't do this, give me number 2 in chat. And that's okay if you don't think that you can do this. Hey, I made this for you. That's okay, Laura. That's all right. You can always circle back. You're still going to get that from time to time. That's all right. But guess what? There's going to be those people that start to see your pass out in the wild. They're going to start to, this some way, the universe shows them the cool shit that you guys are creating. I'm telling you, it happens. There's been businesses that I've approached 3 to 4 years ago, and they reach out to me saying, hey, weren't you doing this thing over here? Can you come back in and talk to us about that thing? And then you go back and show them the new stuff, right? And they're like just totally blown away. So here's how this works. David and I were in Dallas last week or 2 weeks ago, right? And there were people there that I wanted to connect with, people that were big time speakers, Molly Mahoney, right? Steve Larson, who is, you know, like the second guy over at ClickFunnels, built all the funnels for Russell Brunson. You know, some big time names that were doing presentations down there. Jonathan Mast, right? Is a big AI guy. Austin Armstrong. Lots of people that are in this space that, you know, we just created a pass for them and said, hey, it's really nice to meet you. Thank you so much for delivering that presentation. Hey, I made this for you. And guess what? These are the people. These are the people that really get it. They totally get it. They're like, well, what is it, right? When you have their face, their logo on it, right? And you show them the pass on your phone and they scan the QR, hey, scan this QR code so you can have it on your phone. Number 1, it's going to raise a level of curiosity. Hey, what the heck is this? right? Should I even scan this QR code in the first place? But when they scan it and then you start to talk to them about it, it's like, hey, you guys do webinars, right? You guys want to reach your customers and clients with all your new products, your specials, your podcast, your YouTube videos, your TikTok channels, all that other kind of stuff. What if you were able to reach them on the number one device that they check 100 times per day? That's all you got to say. It's the digital billboard pocket that you don't have to pay for over and over and over again on Route 1, on Route 66, on Route 422, but you see it 100 times a day. They get it. What if you were able to send a push notification to everybody that's on your list? Hey, I made this for you. That's it. It opens up the conversation. And then you guys take it from there. You want to give it to them? You give it to them. Hey, do you want to have your own workspace where you send out your own push notifications, all that kind of stuff? Yeah, it's just, it's $125 a month. How many people can install this pass? Unlimited. Unlimited people. 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, all that kind of stuff, right? And if you're ever at an event like Laura just went to, a meetup, if anybody here is going to meetups, or if you're going to conferences, if you're going to chambers of commerces, if you're going to the Rotary, if you're going to, a local meetup at a restaurant, you set a geofence. And yeah, you need to be a little bit discerning, but when you look at it and you see that they've got an iPhone, just show them the cool thing. Set the geofence so it shows up on their phone. Once they have the pass on the phone and they get that push notification, or they get the geofence alert on their phone, guys, like it's a done deal at that point. Well, how do I get this? What do I use? Blah, blah, blah. It just opens up the conversation, right? Let's find a way to work with them. Whatever it is that you charge, we recommend MSRP is $1,500 a year. It's about $125 a month, right? No, zero pushback from most of our people. Will you get pushback? 100% you'll get pushback, because people just don't understand the technology. But if they see it and they experience it, you could start talking about, Starbucks and geofence notification. What if people walked by here and they had this pass on their phone, on their device, and they were able to get a notification from you to invite them to come into your store, right? Here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. You have to get louder. You have to get louder about yourself. You have to be obnoxious about the number of time that you're posting about this and the number of businesses that you're getting in front of. I'm just going to call you guys out on it. Are you talking to people? Are you knocking on doors? Are you going in and out of businesses? Only you can answer that truthfully for yourself. I suspect if you haven't sold anything yet, that you haven't been doing this. And if you have, and you get a couple of no's here and there, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo to yourself. Get over it. It's the Halloween season. Start being scary. Get out there and show them, hey, I made this for you. How cool is this? Right? Like, yeah, does it take a little bit of work? Yeah, it takes a little bit of work. But you know what? If they're paying you $125 a month, how many businesses, if you could almost guarantee, I'll tell you what, the guarantee is this. If you do not go out there and start talking and opening your damn mouths about yourself and your own businesses, the guarantee here is you're not going to sell shit. But if you start showing more magic tricks, if you start showing your toys to new friends, maybe you'll get a play date, right? The play date in the form of $125 every single month coming in. Who here could not use an extra $125 a month coming in? Get it up front if you can, $1,500. But if you don't need an extra $125, by all means, don't open your mouth. Don't go showing people the cool shit that you've got your hands on. You want more people to see more stuff? Open up your mouth. Austin Armstrong. If you don't know that guy, you should absolutely get to know him. That guy posts 15 to 20 times every single day. Oh, it's too much. Oh, it's too much work. Boo-hoo. Get over yourself. Start opening your damn mouths about yourself. become a little less obscure to people. You got to get louder about your business. Tell everybody about it. You think McDonald's isn't advertising themselves? They're all over the damn place, right? Starbucks, all over the damn place. Every business that you're thinking about right now, they're all over the place. You have to increase your frequency, right? And I'm telling you, if you did this over and over and over and stop spending so much damn time on calls like this, like this is necessary for those of you who, are just brand new to Sendpush. But many of you have had Sendpush for a month now. It's not a very difficult platform to understand. Are we adding little things? That's what the group is for. That's what our push notifications are for. Yeah, we'll invite you to the next call and stuff like that. But we were on a call last week doing a promo for Sendpush, and a lot of you were on that call. What the hell are you doing? Why are you on those calls? Sell more of your own shit, guys. And you can afford as many courses and software as you want. I'm not yelling at you. You have to practice your learning skills. For those of you who have not heard about our Learn to Sell program, we're going to invite all of you to come out to that again, right? And take it seriously. Be a damn professional. Be a professional. Do you think the professionals that are playing sports aren't practicing every day? I watched my beloved Philadelphia Eagles play yesterday. And yeah, they've had a couple of rough weeks. And you know what? They're still professionals. They're showing up every day practicing their craft. The same is true for you guys. If you don't understand the platform, understand it, get in there, break it, test it, do as much as you possibly can to fully understand what you're doing. In all probability, for most of you who are tech heads and like to tinker around with stuff, get over yourself, get in there, practice for a couple of hours, understand the platform inside and out. If it takes you a couple days, fine. If it takes you a week, do yourself a favor. Spend the week if it takes you a week. Okay. And then get over yourself. Pick up the damn telephone, start collecting business cards and call people. Will you fail? Yeah, guys, you're going to fail. Even the best fall down sometimes. I fell down on Friday. This past week, I fell down a lot. You have to get up and start to get louder about your mistakes too. Who here has gone onto Facebook? Who here has gone into school? Who here is actively live streaming the cool passes that you guys are creating? Like, do that several times per day. And guess what? There's going to be people that are interested that will pop in. They'll be voyeuristic. They'll be wondering what it is that you've created, right? Talk about the pass that you created for this guy. Even if you haven't been commissioned by a chamber of commerce, freaking create one. Create one for the chamber. Give no fucks. Part of my language, guys. But seriously, the time now, right now, is the best time in the world to start showing people the cool shit that you guys have your hands on. You're smart. You're much smarter than I am. Seriously. But unless you believe that you can sell it, you're not going to sell shit. Start believing in the cool stuff that you've got. This is one of the easiest technologies to demonstrate and start to show. You got to get louder. And this is it. Hey, I made this for you. Like literally every single one of you on this call. The very first thing that I would do if I were you guys today, like this is how I switch things out. Years ago, I was on a live webinar with Dr. Ben Adkins, and he was teaching about how to sell Facebook advertising to local dentists. And I was on this, and I'm like, wait, I'm not going to sell shit if I'm on this webinar. I'm going to go out there and start talking to dentists. I went out and bought like 10 dozen donuts, and I went in and started talking to dentist office. That's it. That's all I did. That was the main shift. Go and start talking to people, and they might throw you out of their office. Oh, we're not buying anything. We're not buying anything. But until the one person does, maybe get a little chip on your shoulder. You're being cool. This is super cool. Super cool software, right? When you create that pass on behalf of Sal's Pizza and Sal gives you the cold shoulder, screw Sal. Fine. I'm going to go dance with your dates. That's the attitude that you have to have. Like, take it personally on the other side of it. Like, you know what? Okay. All right, Sal, I'm going to go over to Amalfi's Pizza. right? I'm going to go over to Angela's Pizza, and I'm going to make sure that Sal knows that he made a mistake, right? That's like the bad attitude, Drew, right? There's no reason for them to treat you poorly. In our sales training with Matt Easton, if you guys are interested in really understanding and the number one transferable skill, in my opinion, is not this sales, not this software stuff. It's sales. Because if you can learn to sell, you can sell anything. You can sell anything. So the way that you pivot around there, if you guys want a way to give a subtle FU to the people that treat you poorly, like this is a really super amazing skill that you guys can have. Because I know a majority of you are fearful of selling. If you've got a fear of selling, give me number 4 in chat. 4 horsemen, right? The 4 horsemen is true. It's the fear of selling that holds a lot of us back. And if you can get over that fear of selling, right? If you literally have a gold bar, right? This is a black one. You have got a gold bar in your hand. If you had a gold bullion bar in your hand, true, like it's just worth a lot of money. And you just had an unlimited access to gold bullion bars, right? You had access to the, to the stash in the United States.
So, Drew, it looks like only Dara and Nikki have a fear of selling. So that tells me that the rest of you should just be out crushing it. Because really, I mean, a lack of strategic, the lack of a strategic sales process is really what holds most agencies back. It's not a understanding of marketing or digital marketing or tech or AI or software tools. 99% of the time, it's just a lack of fundamental understanding of actually how to take a business through a structured strategic sales process. But it looks like only 2 people here have that issue.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, then that's encouraging. It's encouraging if there's only 2 people that have a little bit of fear and that are not going out there and selling it, right? But seriously, if you're convicted and know that this technology works and that it would be beneficial, maybe it's not even Sendpush. Maybe it's something else that you want to be selling to people. The key here is learning how to navigate and having a sales process. But it starts with this. Hey, I made this for you. David and I, when we were leaving Texas at 4 a.m. in the morning, we were checking out from the hotel in Frisco, Texas. One of the keynote speakers was sitting in the lobby, who we hadn't had a chance to connect with. And you know what? We just walked up to him, and Dave's like, "Hey, we made this for you." Right? And he was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." And he gets it. He does webinars to hundreds of people every single week. We showed him that he downloaded it to his mobile phone. The geofence notification popped up. He had an iPhone, which was fortuitous for us in the moment. And as a result of that, we've got a booked call with him. That's what you need to do. Could he have said fuck off? Sure. Could he have said, I'm not interested. Hey, I'm tired. Stop bothering me. Blah, blah, blah. Sure, he could have. But you know what? It didn't. And most of the people that you can go to, like I'm going to, a meetup this Thursday, or maybe it's next Thursday, right? They typically have 80 to 100 people in the room. And I'm going to set up a geofence notification there. I'm going to introduce myself. I get to have, a little banner there or hand out business cards or something like that. I'm going to introduce myself to the meetup founder. And I can already sense it. He's going to want it. His thing is, I want more people to come. I want more people to come to be aware of what's happening at this meetup event. He's going to love it. And guess what? I will probably give him the pass for free, because guess what? He's going to introduce me to 80 to 90 to 100 other businesses there. I'm not going to give him a workspace for free, but I will partner with him to send out push notifications. He very well might agree to buying a workspace. And guess what? The cost, $1,500 a year. because he's trying to, communicate by way of meetup.com. It's not very effective at all. So with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up with Q&A.
Yep.
If there's any other questions that you guys have.
So Laura says she's fine with approaching, but most are busy, afraid of tech, and do not get it immediately. Any follow-up tips? Well, I really think, Laura, it'd be advantageous for you to more so foster relationships with local businesses first and become friends with them. Like that makes it infinitely easier to talk about how you can help them. You already are. Okay. I mean, I don't know. If you fostered a relationship and built some trust with a business owner and you're kind of friendly with them and they won't give you the time of day, any advice there, Drew?
Yeah, you move on to the next one.
Yeah, there you go. Keep going. I mean, from personal experience, I've always found, when you walk in off the street or approach somebody cold, they're not always going to be open to your pitch of what you do and, the things that you offer. But oftentimes, if you get involved with local networking and the chamber and get involved locally with, demonstrating your knowledge and teaching small business owners how to, better their business with the skills that you have, quite often they're, more than happy to take a look at what you do or a different new way that you found that might be beneficial to them.
I think that the actual way about dealing with that is getting their information, getting
Sure.
their business card, and staying next step obsessed. Our trainer Matt Easton talks about it a lot. If they're too busy, okay, they're busy, so you call them again. You deliver an insight. Right, there is an actual sales process. Just because they don't take your call today, you can leave a message. Hey, Sal, I was in the other day looking to get some pizza, or we connected the other day, didn't have a chance to really talk to you. There's something that's happening in the local marketing space, or something happening in the restaurant that I think, I'm not sure. I just want to make sure that you guys were aware of it. Can you give me a call back on my mobile? And you leave it at that. Leave it mysterious, right? So when they call you back, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Hey, just out of curiosity, are you guys using, excuse me, are you building out your email list? Are you seeing declining numbers of people responding back to you by way of text messaging or whatever it might be? We don't use any of that stuff. Totally understood. Do you guys like have customers? Do you really want to communicate with them and let them know about your new products and services and offers coming up in the holiday? If they're just saying no to blow you off, they're not ready. They're not open because they've been approached by other people. But if you approach it as a friend to say, hey, listen, Laura, there's something really cool out there, some technology that we just got our hands on that will allow you to communicate on the one device that they're checking 100 times per day. If that's of interest to you and you want to learn a little bit more about it, give me a call back on my mobile. They might not call you back. So you call them again, you call them again, and you call them again, right? Because that's what it takes. Just because they don't respond back to you immediately doesn't mean, that they owe you anything. They owe you nothing until they tell you to never call me again. I'm going to, get a restraining order against you, or they insult you so bad that it just lets you know that that's not a client that you want to work with in the first place, then it means nothing. There have been people that I have called that were just so monstrous. They're just completely busy and disorganized. And they've been meaning to call me back. And they finally get back to me like, you know what, Drew, I heard your presentation and I've been meaning to call you. I've just been so busy trying to save my business that I didn't have the time to call you. And now I have the time to call you. I've got a little bit of breathing room. And it was months or years later, right? I was a chiropractor that I was working with who just reached out to me 2 weeks ago. And I haven't been able to get back to him. Crazy, right? I worked with him years. Dave, remember Joel Stutzman?
I do.
Yeah. This is a guy that I put tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into his pocket, and we parted ways. And you know what? He's moved. He's reformed his chiropractic business. He reached out to me. Hey, Drew, what are you doing? Looking to get some more help again. Yeah, sure. Be glad to work with you again. There's going to be those types of people in your life. It's you getting it at bat. Anybody watching the baseball series right now? There's a lot of people out there that they're swinging at the the fences, and they're only hitting a 1.2. Not very good. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. My voice is just about spent. Hopefully, this delivered some value to you guys today. We love you guys. We're not calling you out and trying to be monsters here. Believe in yourselves. Go out there and just be cool. Just go show people the magic trick that you have.
Cool. I don't see any last minute questions here, but you know where to find us if you need help. Brian's. If you're at an event and use a geofence method, and when they install the pass, right then will the trigger the notification? Yeah, it should, Brian, if they're on iOS, number one, right? Because this doesn't work on Google Android phones. But yeah, if they install the pass and the geo fence is set, it should show up rather quickly. Maybe not instantly, but within a minute or two, it should normally show up, as long as the conditions are correct.
Hey, somebody was asking about how do you partner with somebody with a pass but not a workspace. Look, there's people out there that say that they don't have money. Okay. What if you partner with somebody that you knew that had money and you worked the pass on their behalf? And you say, listen, I know you're probably testing the technology out, all that kind of stuff. How about I run the pass for you? Right. And every dollar that we generate from this, I take 50%. Zero risk up front. Like, comedy clubs, they want more tickets to be sold. What if you created a very special link that's on the back of that pass and you work the pass? You work the pass, you promote the pass. You get you get hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people on that pass. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather charge 125 bucks a month, or would you rather charge 15% of the sales? Which one would you guys take? Do you have to do you, have, do you put it in a workspace, or do you just send all the push notifications out and do the promotions? What would you guys take? $125 a month or 15% of sales? Damn straight you would. 15%, right? Guess what? They're going to turn around and say, "Yeah, you know what? Let's I'll give you the $1,500 a year." Screw that, right? You've got a sales system now. That's how then you move it in. Like, at that point, if you're selling 2,000 tickets at $35 a pop at 15%, you think you can afford an extra 10 to 20 workspaces? Yeah, that's how you partner, guys. That's how you partner with people.
All right, Patrick, last one here. I have 12 restaurants lined up in one street next to each other. How would I sell Sendpush? If I sell to four of them, will the push notifications work when there are four competing with? Yeah. So remember, each restaurant would have their own pass, right? It's almost, I think some people are just overthinking this thing entirely way too much, Drew. Think about when somebody installs a pass, think about it in the same way as when a person opts in for an email newsletter or a small business's email list. It's really not any different than that. So think about when somebody clicks add pass to wallet, think about that in the same way as somebody typing their email address into an opt in form and hitting submit. It's kind of the same thing, right? Once they've done that, they are opted in. Once they're opted in, we can now send push notifications to that person, right? Each business is going to have their own customers, right? Now it's up to that business and you working with them to get those customers incentivized to add the wallet pass to their phone, or other words, opt in to join their VIP club or their special club or their early update list club, whatever the use case is for that particular business. That's it, right? So you absolutely could work with businesses that are right next to each other. There's no reason why you can't. You know, they're each going to have their own pass. Each pass is unique to that business, and the customers are unique to that business who've added that pass. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Patrick. Drew, we got to run. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Thanks for joining in today. We will add the replay to the Sendpush Agency Bootcamp area inside of the learning portal. I'm going to say that again. Please do not ask me where the replay is. The replay is going to be inside the Sendpush Agency Bootcamp course area inside the learning portal. It'll be there as soon as it's done rendering. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.